In this episode, we're going to talk about productivity. This is number 5 of the 6 P's of highly productive people. Welcome to Leadership for Startups, where we help entrepreneurs and leaders build businesses that grow and flourish. Welcome to episode 12. My name is Toyo Shimbi, your host, going to be taking you through this solo cast. We've been going through the 6 P's of highly productive people, and we've gotten to number 5. Really excited about this. Today, we're going to be looking at productivity. Now, this is a subject that I am sure we're going to visit again and again and again, and it's one of those questions that we're definitely going to be asking our guests when we interview them about how they are able to be more productive. In this episode, we want to look at an overview of some of the key essentials, because being productive today could be a struggle. And it's something that a leader needs to learn, especially if you're in a startup. It is quite messy. And so knowing areas to focus on in order for you to be productive will be key. For all of us, we can be busy, but not productive. Now, in our last episode, we looked at priorities. And if you're going to be productive, priorities will be the first area to focus on so that you can be clear on what your priorities are. And we looked at different areas. If you are at the startup stage, for instance, it could be looking for funding. It could be finding your customer, sales, marketing, etc. Those are some of the things that we looked at, and we know that that is important. Now, I'm going to try to make this episode short and punchy, and then later in other episodes moving forward, I would like to go into a lot more detail around how we can be more productive. And as we have mentioned, we'll be asking many of our guests that we're going to be having on the show to give us tips of how to be more productive and effective in what we do. Scott Belsky, CEO of Behance, which is a co-creating online platform, and also the author of the book Making Ideas Happen, found while doing research for his book and after interviewing a large number of highly productive people, he found that they all had one thing in common, which is that they had a routine that they ensured that got them to be productive. Now, there are other people that also follow David Allen's getting things done process, which could be quite complex and might not always make you be productive, but it's definitely a place that you might want to look at. That's David Allen's getting things done, be productive. But definitely at startup stage, being productive could be a challenge. So what might be some essentials that you might need to start thinking about when it comes to being productive? Well, first, I think that we're going to need to set clear goals and objectives around what you're trying to achieve. And at startup stage, I've mentioned that you are looking either for funding or you're looking for your ideal customer. And this would mean setting some kind of target, some kind of deadline or number to achieve by a date. And that's what setting an objective or a goal is. And again, that's another episode that I'll definitely be covering, how to set clear goals and objectives, a very important skill. Because once you have that in place, then you know how you can measure yourself towards that. You can measure how productive you are, and you can measure if what you're doing is moving the needle towards your overall objective. But to simplify this, you see, our work actually falls into these simple categories. So I'm going to give you 3 distinct categories that you can place your work under. Number 1 would be projects. And projects would be multiple tasks that you would need to do in order to accomplish your overall objective or outcome. And so a project is simply multiple tasks with a deadline, a time frame with an outcome. And that's a project. So it has a start and it has a finish. And that's why it will be called a project. That's the first area. The second will be processes. Now, processes will be activities that you're going to either need to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis. And that's what helps you get business as usual done. So admin, for instance, would be a process because you either need to do it daily, weekly, or monthly. Social media, if it's part of your overall marketing plan, could be a process, which means that you post something every week, and that could be a simple process. And things like that, meetings could be a process. So that will go under your process category. So we've got projects and we've got processes. And the last is simply tasks. And this will be one-off deeds that need to be done in order to get something accomplished. So you have projects, which would be multiple tasks. You have processes, which would be an ongoing activity. And then you have tasks, which will be a one-off activity. Now, if you can find other areas where you can put work, let me know. But from my own research, most of the things that we do will go under these categories. Now, there's one area that is missing, and that is the fact that it involves other people. And so in some situations, we can do these things on our own. And in some situations, we have to do them with other people. A meeting, for instance, is something that involves other people. So people will be the fourth area. And we're going to be looking at people in our next episode. So we'll come to that and how that plays its role in helping us to be productive, because that's how we can also delegate. There are many other areas we can start looking at when it comes to work. But when you think about being productive, you're most likely going to find out that it falls into these categories that I've mentioned: projects, processes, tasks, and then we can add people, which we'll look at in the next episode. And so what does that mean for you? So can you categorize your work under projects, under processes, and under tasks? So what are your key goals and objectives? What processes do you have in place to help you meet them? What projects do you have in place to help you accomplish them? What tasks do you need to tick off in order for you to accomplish your overall objective? And then what people are involved in order to help you get there. So that's it. Being productive. Number 5 in our 6 P's of highly productive people: focus on your projects, focus on your processes, focus on your tasks, and focus on your people, which we'll be looking at in our next episode. And let's keep the conversation going. You can go to Facebook, me/leadership for startups. We can continue the conversation there. Go to leadershipforstartups.com to subscribe for this podcast and share with your friends, and look forward to hearing from you. And between now and our next episode, to your success.